so nice to see you all here today. It is my honor to introduce Mauricio Arellano, I hope I said that correctly,
Perfect.
who told me he has 30 years in education, and I said, oh, a newbie. Uh, he currently is in a district that has about 21,000 students located in Southern California between San Bernardino and Palm Springs. And his goal, they have a 5-year plan to have STEAM labs in all the elementary schools. But he noticed what we all notice in our districts, I think, that kids are struggling with math. And even our high achieving elementary school kids, when they hit 5th grade and then middle school, really take a dip in their ability to do math. And so he needed to find something that was going to help. And I was thrilled to find that he discovered something that we found in Napa too, which was robotics. Robotics is very exciting for kids. And when they started doing robotics and they looked through the schools to find innovative teachers who were willing to do it, of course, they were successful. And he found someone at Citrus Valley High School who took on the pilot of the robotics program. And of course, it was so successful that now they have robotics in all of their schools, which is what happens. Word gets out and everybody wants to be innovative and great. So I'm going to let him tell you all about how he achieved this wonderful miracle. And hopefully you will go back to your districts and do the same thing. Dr. Mauricio Arellano.
Very good, Barbara. Thank you. Let me get myself going here. Well, I want to start by first just showing my appreciation for the very warm welcome and the warm introduction, Barbara. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation to speak at the 10th annual CSTEM annual conference. It truly is an honor and sincere pleasure to be able to tell the Redlands story, and not just the Redlands story, but the story and collaboration that we have with the CSTEM program and how it's positively affected our students and our staff. So I just want to warn the audience that, you know, I'm not going to provide you this profound, very intellectual discussion today. I'm truly going to tell you, a story. It's an authentic story. It's reporting out some of the authentic answers to the question, can we get kids excited about math? And the answer is yes. And the answer is we did that with robotics, with the hands-on experience, with the partnership with UC Davis. So as part of my discussion today, I'm going to really break it up into 4 sections. One, I'm going to start off by telling you my story as an elementary kid, middle school kid, high school kid, and my experience with math. Then I'm going to transition into how the multi-year vision of the district created by the superintendent, the Board of Education, and all of our community members, how that ties in like a glove, fits like a glove with the CSTEM program. Then I'll talk a little bit about what Barbara shared, the implementation and the successes that we're finding with CSTEM in our schools. And then talk about the ultimate breakthrough, which was seeing the joy and the smiles of math again in the classroom. So let me go ahead and begin the journey and talk about this person standing in front of you. Now, granted, I'm going to start the story when I was a little kid, when I still had black hair and bangs. So please picture somebody different than you see there in the slide. Math for me was always very difficult. It was a challenge, especially as I moved from elementary to middle school. I had very few victories in math, so to speak. I had very little inspiration or anything to trigger curiosity. Nothing really built my confidence to try to conquer and attack math. It was the same old stand and deliver 4 days a week with a math quiz or a math test on Fridays. And what my experience included was getting back that math quiz and math test most often on that Monday morning, either with a big fat D on it or a big fat F written in Sharpie red. And so I was one of those kids where the motivation to learn math, the ability to enhance my grit or resiliency towards math was really non-existent. Adding a layer to that, being a child of immigrant parents from Mexico and parents who were not formally educated, I didn't have anybody at home to provide me support with math or for any other content area for that matter. And we did not have the resources for outside interventions such as tutoring. So really in reality, there was no one there to help me. And therefore, that became the fear that has overtaken me with the concepts of math. I've loathed math as a child. I was scared of math. I created those survival skills that every kid who is in my situation that they take on just to pass the class, not to build my capacity on math so I can continue to be successful, but just to try to pass that class. And so every level of math that I experienced along the way as a kid just got harder and harder and harder. So I asked, does that sound familiar? It should, because all of us across the United States, state of California, we struggle with math proficiency. So if you look at your student body, you're going to have thousands and thousands of examples of the story that I just shared with you. And when we look at the detriment, I'm going to share my own story. So going to UC Riverside as a freshman, and I say this now because it's a story, but I was very ashamed. First quarter math, F. Second quarter, retake the class, D+. Take math 2, D+. Great, I'm done with my math requirements, on to my humanities type of studies. So I say that because I humbly want to share that there are so many students that I know that experience what I'm experiencing. And so it's been my life's journey really to find something that can help the students who felt like I did. And I think we have found something that can truly help. So let me back up and talk a little bit about the multi-year vision and how that fits in with CSTEM. During my first 100 days as superintendent 4 years ago, I embarked on a listening and learning tour. And as part of that, we reached out to the community and we asked one simple question. What do you need from the district? What do you see that needs to be different to enhance the learning experience of not only our students, but our staff? And so through the use of thought exchange software, we were able to really break down exactly what our community asked for. And it was very simple. They asked for 4 things, which was really a referendum, basically saying, move away from traditional learning and enhance to it. 1 was to add innovation. 2 was to add technology. 3 was to have our students use 21st century learning opportunities to not just respond to the curriculum, but to interact with the curriculum. And then oddly enough, the 4th one was very specific. It just said math support. And that basically told us parents and students struggle, right? It's not just me. Math is a very difficult content area. So what was nice is as we developed this multi-year vision, as you see there in front of you, the 5 commitment statements, working in partnership with CSTEM really covers 4 out of those 5. When we talk about enhanced innovation, we've now brought math into the classroom that includes robotics, coding, perhaps digital storytelling. When we talk about excellence in academics, we talk about all students learning and making these new ways of learning, not an intervention, not a second class to take, but perhaps we can look at it as our first best instruction. Then the second element is that whole equity piece, equality through equity. If you really look at our data, the students who really struggle with math are those students of poverty, are the students where we see the huge opportunity gaps, which I think CSTEM, as we implement down the road, is really going to help us address that. It's giving kids who come to school with less, more. And this CSTEM is not only more, but it's different. and it's 21st century and it's exciting. And then of course it meets the aspect of collaborative community partnerships. What I love about our relationship with UC Davis and Dr. Chang and his team is we actually need each other. This is a glove that fits the hand perfectly. We need each other, and at the same time, we have the same goal, which is creating the love for math, which hopefully will translate to higher academic achievement. So why did we go seeking CSTEM, and how did this happen? Well, I operate on one very simple question. My cabinet will tell you everything comes down to one simple question. What does the data tell us? And not how we feel. What do we think the flavor of the week is, or what our impressions? What is the evidence-based answer to what does the data tell us? And here's what the data told us. And Barbara shared a little bit about it. Students in Redlands leave at a pretty high proficiency rate when they're dealing with math. Once they enter the middle schools, we have a tragic decline in math proficiency. Why? Well, we all know as educators, at the elementary level, students are operating at a practical problem solving, noticing patterns, learning how to count, and they're moving more into arithmetic and abstract kind of concepts, which many times are just taught in some sort of a rote or worksheet type approach, or stand and deliver approach, as I mentioned earlier. It creates that I can't do math belief system. And I was one of those students, right? There are many of those students who are just like me. Now, the problem with that formula that I just shared with you is it just compounds even worse. Once kids get to 9th grade and they experience math that freshman year, high volume of Fs. And so what we're trying to do is, how do we undo that formula for disaster and change it to a formula of success? Furthermore, what I want to share with you about Redlands is, some of you might know where district is and you're thinking, wait a minute, that's a high achieving district. Why in the world are they sitting here talking about F rates and equity and kids of poverty? Well, yes, we're very proud of our accomplishments here at Redlands, and we have a long history of great student achievement. But when you peel that onion even deeper, you really realize that 60% of our students is who have really carried this district. They have done so well that when you average their scores with the other 40%, yes, we look good on paper. But it's those 40% of our kids are the ones that are students of poverty, our Latino students, our African-American students, who really need this different approach, and CSTEM has given it to us. So how did it all start? Well, I'm a superintendent that really likes the idea of looking for pockets of brilliance, those pockets of awesomeness. And there was a teacher, well, I like to find teachers who want to try something new, do something different, but they're afraid to ask because it doesn't fit the status quo. So I ran into Alan Tho. He was your 2019 CSTEM Teacher of the Year many years ago. And he connected with Ken Wagner, who was your 2019 Administrator of the Year. And they came to me and said, hey, Mauricio, I got this great idea. Can we try teaching math while integrating coding and robotics, and at the same time focusing on the math standards? I said, well, sure. What do you have? And well, we found this thing called CSTEM from UC Davis. And I said, like I usually do when teachers come and take a risk, I said, absolutely, do it, build it. Don't let failure stop you. Keep building on it. Give it ample time. Be awesome and create the new status quo. So this is how CSTEM fell into our laps here at the Redlands Unified School District. And so the way it worked is we piloted the first year a class at the high school and a class at the middle school. The middle school being ran by Josh Varner, who is this year's STEM Teacher of the Year. So you can see these guys are just awesome teachers. And they started that first class of kids. They worked with counselors to try to recruit kids. That first year was very difficult because no one really knew what it was. So people were apprehensive about applying. And then they even said to me, hey, Mauricio, I don't want to do this as an intervention class. I don't want to do this as a secondary class. I want to do it as a core math class. And I said, well, why not? let's do it. And so they did. And so what we've done is we've now evolved to that. We've now evolved since that, and we now have C-STEM classes at the middle school, all 4 of our comprehensive middle schools, and all 3 of our high schools. And at the middle school, what we've done is we've added the computer science elective in 6th grade so that we can provide our students those mechanical skills that prepare them to take the C-STEM classes in 7th and 8th grade. Now, we were well on our way after that first year to see successes, but then COVID has kind of interrupted our trend data opportunity with standardized testing, even multi-year grading. I wouldn't even compare the grades that kids are getting now in distance learning with real life. So it's not a true comparison. But nonetheless, we have pioneered that C-STEM is a core class, and we believe, based on qualitative data, that it's going well. Now, how have we been able to sustain this? Our LCAP committee, which is made up of 40 people that are teachers, employees, parents, clergy, students, have seen the success of C-STEM and have supported it. And because they see it as a direct response to the community saying, we need math support. And so since that first implementation, as we grew it, we've added the funds from supplemental concentration, because most of the students who are not doing well are our unduplicated count students who are generating the supplemental concentration funds. And therefore, they funded the materials, the resources. They asked to create a coordinator of STEM and innovation, which is Deepika Srivastava, who is this year's C-STEM Administrator of the Year, where she does a great job doing the staff development, building capacity of our teachers, giving them the time and the space to analyze data, lesson plan, build content, and to work, ample opportunities to work with the great staff at UC Davis. So supporting the teachers is what Deepika does, so that the teachers can concentrate on the instruction. Then furthermore, what Deepika has done is taken it one step further, working with UC Davis, is creating the Southern California Symposium to support the annual conference. This gives us the opportunity to share best practices with our local colleagues, and it gives us a great opportunity to see what else is happening, to dialogue, to plan together, and it's a very, very powerful experience. So what that has done is it's done exactly what you see here. C-STEM has been a blessing to the Redlands Unified School District because kids are smiling. Kids are having fun with math. They're actually playing math. That's what they say. I'm playing math, Mr. Ariano. And they don't understand why it is they get to do math with classmates and working together in teams, and why they get to use robots, and why failing the first time, second time, third time, fourth time isn't getting an F. It's almost required to continue to try to find the outcome that we're looking for and understand what went wrong. And at the same time, we're developing those 21st century soft skills that kids need when they move into the future. So what's wonderful when I say kids are playing math, I think Deepika said it the best. Kids are working with exponential linear equations without hesitation. They don't even know they're doing it. The metacognition is happening. Math standards are being met. Perseverance and grit are being developed. Relevance is being infused. Students are just learning with a smile. And I have to say, I get a chance now to relive my childhood math experience with these kids. So I'm basically exercising my math demons, but it's for the good. Kids are seeing that math is not something you say ugh to. It's something that says hands-on, project-based, mistakes are gonna happen. We work from those mistakes. We're gonna keep at it because we get the encouragement that we need. So having said that, I just wanna, again, I wanna thank everyone at UC Davis, Dr. Chang, you and your staff, Deepika, Ken, Alan, everyone who were the pioneers. You guys are changing the environment for math for many kids